Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio down here in Mississippi. We welcome you all back to our program. Also, those tuning in to our online affiliates around the world, including our iHeartRadio family. We're glad to have all of you with us as well. We're excited to welcome Donna Carrick to our program today. Donna's an individual like myself who is a great lover of words and the arts. We're going to talk to her not only about what it's been like for her to use her position to be able to spotlight talent that she's been able to find, but also especially through her podcast, Dead to Rights, what it's been like for her to introduce them to her audience. And if you just know hearing about Donna and the work that she does, we'll tell you a little bit later how you can stay connected with her. But Donna, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Well, thank you very much, Cyrus. Thanks for having me on Conversations Live. I really appreciate it.
Well, look, I appreciate the opportunity. You know, I want to say, for one thing, thank you for all the great work that you're doing. You recently had me on as a guest of your program, Dead to Rights. We're going to talk more about that. You and I were just talking before we began the segment here, Donna, about, being able to share in the arts. I think, for so many people, it's so important for us to not only be able to recognize the talent that's out there, but to help spread the word however we can. What has it been like for you over the years, Donna, to be able to do just that, to be able to discover literary voices and to be able to share those voices?
That's been really the key to most of what I do, because there are so many great writers who are struggling out there just to be heard, as you know, in the changing industry today. And, some, of course, their talent is a little bit stronger than others, but I view the writing industry as an art, and I love to see people furthering their art and trying to improve it. And when they're doing that, I really want to try and help them get out and reach readers as much as possible. It brings a lot of pleasure to me.
Yeah. So let's talk about the why, Donna, because what you just said, is something I totally agree with you on. Being able to help others is definitely, what I have tried to do in my career as well. We do know, though, that that's not the case for everyone. Everyone does not feel that way. What made you so passionate about being able to help individuals out there to be able to share their voice?
Well, it's true, and you've really hit on something. But I'm a firm believer that each of us has to do what's in us to do, and so I don't critique very strongly people who don't have the same view that you and I have, that it's all about the networking, it's all about being part of the community. But that's where I come from, and so it's where I have to stand. We each have our own abilities and our own things that we can bring to this industry and to this art. And one of the things that I bring is the true enjoyment I get from speaking with other people who share my art.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
To me, that's that's the long and the short of it, is that I love being with other writers. I love being in the company of other writers. They all have varying degrees of success. But if there's anything that I can give them that helps them to heighten that, then that's a good thing.
I totally agree with that. So take us back a little bit then, Donna. Again, for those who are just discovering you, and we're going to be telling them a little bit later about how to stay connected with you online, when did you first recognize your love of words?
Oh, my gosh. I was a kid, like many writers. It just sounds corny when you talk about it, because many writers say the same thing. I think I was around 5 or 6. And I wrote a stupid little poem for my mother, and she made a big fuss about it. And ever since then, I was hooked. I knew that the pen was indeed mightier than the sword, and it was the path I was going to take with my life. And I have done that. I've been part of the writing community, certainly here in Toronto, but I think the larger international community as well. And I've loved every minute of it.
Yeah. And that then brings us to the reverse of this then, Donna, and that is the appreciation. When you hear from authors who you've been able to help share their words, and that you've been able to support, whether it's through a post like you're known for making online or, through conversations, how does that make you feel to know that they appreciate the work that you're doing?
I think we're really all in this big pot together, and I just love when they know that I'm here, and, when we can share that. It's very hard. I'm a writer. I'm supposed to be able to put everything into words, but it's very hard to put it into words. I view it as a community of artists, And as such, as a community of artists, we've got to lift each other. A rising tide lifts all boats. And when I see my community rising in abilities and in stature and in recognition, it helps all of us, including me. So, I mean, it can be said as a very selfish thing, too.
Right. For sure. I totally agree with that. Donna, for those who are just tuning in on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Donna Carrick to our program today. Donna is an individual who not only has a love of words like I do, but she's been willing to use her platform to be able to help spread the word, not only about her own work, but also that of others, too. That brings us to social media, Donna, which is going to be a great tie-in to how you spread the word, even about Dead to Rights, your podcast. What has that world been like for you? It's kind of interesting to hear different perspectives of this. I have found, and I've said it on this program over the years, that when used responsibly and respectfully, social media can be an amazing tool to be able to touch the world, to unite and network, and to be able to get some great things done. What's your experience been like with social media?
Well, I agree completely with that statement, that it is a great tool and it's got to be used responsibly. We wouldn't get behind the wheel of a car with the intent of hurting people, and I don't think we should get online with the intent of hurting people. Please forgive my voice. It's a little scratchy today, but to get online with a good aim, if your intentions are good, I think you'll always be received well. Now, I've had, of course, like everybody in today's world, I've been online and I've had the odd person disagree with me, things like that, because I am myself and I'm going to speak my truth. But at the same time, I never approach social media with the intent to hurt or with any form of malice. I think it's a wonderful tool because before the advent of social media, people like myself who wanted to strive in an art, the struggle was so much harder. And now with social media, we really can build our platforms. We can get out there and reach people who have like intents and like goals. And again, it's what I said earlier. It lifts us all, or at least it potentially can lift us all. And I've heard a lot of negativity about social media, but I'm not sure where a lot of us would be. We're not all Dan Brown, and I don't knock Dan Brown. He's a very successful writer. I hate to hear people knocking him because it smacks of jealousy, frankly. He's a very successful writer, and I never knock him, but we are not all him. And we all have a right to a voice, and we all have a right to try to further our voice. And social media, to me, it really is a tool. It's like, like any other tool you would pick up and use. And if you use it in that way, and if you reach out, and if you try to share what other people are doing and spread their word, hopefully they reciprocate in some way, but you don't go into it with the intent that they're going to reciprocate because, as my mother always said, if you're looking for a payout, you're going to be always disappointed, You go into it with your own intentions intact, and they should be honorable intentions, and, none of us is perfect, but that's how you approach it, like you do everything in life.
For sure. Totally agree with that. To stay with that point for a moment, and again to use it as a segue, I think the other side of it is, and a lot of the people who I respect that are, to me, really qualified to talk about social media and building community, which is what I think a big part of it is about. Building a tribe is sometimes what I call it. It has to be more than just asking. You have to be willing to give. And do you find that that's why you've been so successful on social media? Because it's not just about what others can do for you, but also what you can do for other people.
Yes, and the truth is, some of it comes down to my personality, and you might call it a personality flaw. I'm not a good asker. And there have been times, I'm not above asking the odd time, but it's not my default position. I've just never been particularly good at it. And in a way, that's kind of served me because I don't think people see me as someone who's got a handout and has an ulterior motive in, if I offer something, I'm not asking for something back. I'm really not. And again, that might be a personality flaw, but it's mine, and I'll live with it happily. So,
yeah.
And I do. To answer your question, I do think it served me well because I think people feel some affinity for me. Like I don't sense a lot of negativity when I'm out online in the online world with people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I think, I totally, my experience with you has been great over the years, as with your husband, who I've had the opportunity of interviewing on this program as well. So now I've had the complete package of the Carrick here.
Package, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings us then to the podcast. Podcasting is such a strong tool today, and I hope our audience realizes this, Donna, that this is a great way to be able to not only to build a platform, but also to build an audience, to be able to share information. What led you to podcasting?
Oh, my goodness. When podcasts first came out, I listened tentatively, like many people did. I listened to the odd podcast when I got my Apple phone, and I didn't make much of it. But about a year and a half ago, I started listening really intently to podcasts, and it opened up a whole new world to me, because one of the things I'd always loved and always had a passion for was the idea of broadcasting. I mean, what you do is what I'd always kind of had this fascination with. And I realized that with the writing community that I had built and was continuing to build, this was something I could really share with readers. What I really want to do is bring writers and readers together. And the response has been marvelous. Like, I've got interviews lined up well into the first half of the year. So, there is a need for it. There's a niche for it, I believe, where writers really want to tell their story. How did they come into writing? Why did they come into writing? What do they think is important today about the changes in our industry? And can they bring that to readers and establish a connection? Because all writers want to connect with readers. That's the one thing we all have in common.
For sure.
I mean, it's been, aside from being a lot of fun, I think it's been a really good tool, and I think it will continue to grow into a good tool.
Right, I totally agree with that. I'm sorry, I was just going to say that brings us to Dead to Rights. First of all, talk to us about the title.
Oh, Dead to Rights. Well, Alec again, my husband, for those who don't know him, Alec Carrick, he and I brainstorm on a lot of things, and a couple of years ago, we had been playing with the idea of doing something in the writing community here in Toronto, and we didn't really know what. We knew that there was a bit of a void being established, and I won't get into all the details. Anybody in Toronto will know what that void was, but we didn't know what we wanted to do. But we were playing with names, and I'm not sure which one of us came up with Dead to Rights, but we both latched onto it immediately. And then when I thought, I really think it's a podcast, I think what I want to do is a podcast, the name was just perfect for it. So,
yeah. And for you, as you've been able to bring these voices that you've been able to interview, I know even on the day that we're having this conversation, I was, on your Facebook page, got a chance to hear one of your current ones. How does that feel to know that you are helping them to be able to not only to share their voice, but also to reach a new audience?
It's fantastic. Today's episode this week's episode was with Rob Brunet, who is the author of Stinking Rich. And Rob is an exceptional author. He's really funny, and he's just a great interview, and he's well known here in the Toronto community. So it was terrific to be able to feature him and have him on, because my suspicion is that a lot of people still don't know him, and they should. So.
Yeah. Well, definitely we're going to let our audience know here in a bit how they can be able to stay connected with the podcast and also with you as well, Donna. So, Donna, I have to ask you this. I mean, as you're kind of are building your own brand and have made a name for yourself, not only, of course, with the literary community there in Toronto, but also thanks to the Internet again through the world, what would you like to see next for yourself? I mean, as you're now building this platform with the podcast, where do you see it heading?
Oh, my goodness. Well, Carrick Publishing has been really something that Alec and I have greatly enjoyed, and I've been involved in most of the technical work on it. We've really enjoyed building it up, but we haven't been able to take it to the next level because we both still work. And at some point, I do believe what we'll do is we'll make that transition of careers complete so that Carrick Publishing will become a full-time venture for us. And when that happens, I expect that I expect it'll continue to be really busy and to grow, and continue to give a voice to a lot of writers who might not be heard in the traditional industry. Because Carrick Publishing, we're a small independent company, And we do work with authors who had trouble breaking into the traditional industry, but are terrific authors and terrific artists who really want to hone their crafts.
Right. Well, I say that is a great thing, and I think, it also gives people out there hope, Donna, who are maybe in a similar situation. They're thinking about what they'd like to do next, to know that that's something that they can shoot for. So, again, we've been talking about the podcast. We've talked about your platform. Let our audience know, how can they catch Dead to Rights, Donna, as well as how they can stay connected with you?
Well, for Dead to Rights, you can catch it on iTunes podcasts or on Google Play podcasts, and I'm slowly converting over the episodes onto YouTube as well. So if you look for the Carrick Publishing channel and look for the playlist Dead to Rights, you should find some episodes there as well. As for me, I'm on Facebook as Donna Carrick. I'm on Twitter as @Donna_Carrick. You can find us as CarrickPublishing.com. Oh, my goodness, we're all over the place. So Alec Carrick, my husband, of course, is ALEX_Carrick. So,
All right. So make sure you'll definitely stay connected with Donna and the work that Carrick Publishing is doing. Donna, congratulations to you and to, of course, Alex, and all the great work you all are doing, and especially with the podcast Dead to Rights. It's a great platform to be able to spotlight literary talent out there, to introduce them to a new audience, and looking forward to having you back on the program again, Donna.
Thank you very much, Cyrus. I'd be happy to. You have a great day.
You do the same thing. Thank you so much for that. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. If you all came in late and missed part of the conversation with Donna, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media sites. So head over to Facebook.com/Cyrus Webb or go to Twitter.com/Cyrus Webb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share it with your friends from there too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.